Hey, so are you potentially having some anxiety post-stroke? If so, then this video is for you. Hey, my name is Brandon, and I am a stroke survivor, and I never knew anything about anxiety. Actually, if somebody talked about they had anxiety, I was probably in the mindset where I would say, hey, you know what? Suck it up, buttercup. Like, let's get driving on here and, just kind of block that out of your head. And I never really understood it, uh, no concept about it. That all changed after I had my stroke, and what ended up happening. Uh, and if you have not already watched the video about my stroke, feel free to go back and catch up on that. But September 10th, 2017, 6:30 in the morning, it was a Sunday morning, just like any other day. I ended up having a stroke. It ended up being determined to be a cryptogenic stroke. And subsequently, I had a PFO identified, and then we closed that up with a heart procedure several months later. But I want to really focus this video on talking specifically about uh, basically flat out the anxiety that I had after I had my stroke. Um, Again, I've never had anything anywhere close to this before, and hopefully I never have to go through anything like this again. But what ended up happening is pretty much as I would try to go to sleep at night, I kept feeling like I was having my stroke over and over again. Basically, I would lay down in my bed, go to close my eyes to go to sleep. My wife was in bed beside me, and I would feel like this. It felt like this wave just knocking me over from my left hand side. My left hand side is what ended up getting numb whenever I had my stroke. And I would close my eyes and I would feel this wave just kind of knock me over, and it would literally felt like I was having my stroke all over again. And this would happen for hours, like every single night. And I'm usually somebody who, whenever I lay down to go to sleep, I could be out cold in like 10 seconds. Literally within 60 seconds, I'm usually asleep most nights. I fall asleep very quickly, but what I was going through was something that I've never been through before. And I had a friend of mine, he got me a book by Max Lucado called Anxious for Nothing. I really tried to fight through everything and just kind of take my worries and just turn them over to God, not focus on any of that stuff. And as hard as I tried, it was still it was something that just continued to happen over and over and over again. Time did start to help out, probably after about 2 months, but it got to the point where, like every single night, I would feel this wave crash over me. I felt like I was having my stroke. My wife, we kept a blood pressure cuff because whenever I had my stroke, the blood pressure it was all off. It was one of the indicators, that things weren't going right. And I had so we bought this little electronic blood pressure cuff, and I would just sit there and I would put it on my arm, and we'd pump it up to check and make sure. And I was constantly taking my left hand and I would flex it to make sure that it was operating properly. Now at that time, like my last two fingers on my left hand were still fairly numb. It took probably the better part of a year before I kind of got rid of almost all of that. I still have a little bit on my pinky that I'd mentioned. Every now and then I can definitely notice it on the pinky, but pretty much symptom free. Maybe a little bit of face stuff here, but it's still not bad. And I just think that process kept going and repeating itself day in, day out. My wife, again, very patient, helping me to work through this. And it was so real, where every single night I just felt like I was having a stroke. And just continued, lifted up to God in prayer and just continued to work through it. And it began to subside. And then I ended up, again, I'll be talking about my PFO closure, patent foramen ovale. I ended up having that procedure done in December of 2017. And I was starting to get everything pretty well controlled. And then once I had the heart procedure, it kind of started back up again for another month or so. And then it just kind of subsided. I guess that the fear that I had in my head that I was going to have another stroke. And hear me out whenever I say this too. Whenever I was having my stroke, I was not afraid at all. I was completely aware of what was happening. I may have been the most aware of my entire family as to what was going on. My wife and kids, they were a little beside themselves, but I was pretty coherent and thinking everything through very calmly. But it it definitely was something that caught me off guard, not ever having experienced anything like that. And now, whenever I hear family or friends talking about it, I can relate better to them. I know what it's like to have your body taking over and your mind's wanting to do something differently, but your body's just like almost revolting against you and not letting that happen. It can be very frustrating. Um, but anyway, I'm not sure if this is able to help you out or anything like that. But I just want you to, to keep the faith and keep relying on the people, and eventually continue to work on whatever those fears are that are causing this anxiousness to weigh you down. There's hope that you can continue to plow forward, and that one day it'll just be a memory, and you won't have to worry about it again. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, or give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. Thanks a lot.